All right, we're live on YouTube with Zulma Gonzalez. Welcome home, my Egyptian princess. Good to have you back.
Thank you, family. Thank you, family. I have missed you all so much. You have no idea. I could only do anything I could do was only on WhatsApp, so I couldn't send regular messages. Otherwise, it would have cost me $12 a day. I wasn't doing that. Anyway, a thankful Thursday to each and every only one of us. Some things never change. It's always only one of us. I had the most amazing experience. And I'll start by saying that was I was introduced to the idea of going to Egypt back in 2010 by a man that I was very much in love with, and um, it turned out that in 2015 he made his transition, and the idea, the thought, the belief, the knowing that it would happen one day never left me. And one day last year, the beginning of the year, I guess it was February, looking back at old emails, I looked at his photograph one day in the middle of the week and I said, okay, when are we going to Egypt? I'm talking to a photograph. And that very Sunday, when I went to service, that very Sunday, the announcement was made that a trip to Egypt was being planned. And all I could do was, eyes wide open, mouth wide open, tears streaming. And it 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 doesn't surprise me, and it always surprises me when these demonstrations occur. Know, I, I know. I don't think. I don't wonder. I don't just believe, but I know that or five others. My thoughts are God's thoughts, and that we have, the course says, the outward expression of an inward of inward conditions. In religious science they call it the mental equivalent. Well, not in the actually in the metaphysics they call it the mental equivalent. It comes down to what we put out there is always what's coming from within. And I had the marvelous opportunity to experience Egypt for 2 glorious weeks. And with that, let's go with our what we know to do. I am going to share my screen only for a little bit today, because, as I just said to Lynn, I am unplanned. And so it is. Um, I was going to come to listen, but before I had a chance to say that, Lynn was she said I was so excited to know that I'm back. I'm like, oh, that feels good. All right, I'll say something. I don't know what it's going to be, and hopefully you all will be here to say stuff with me, and I certainly will talk about some of those highlights. Lori, thank you very much. Gladly um, to talk about those highlights. So, as we always do, I don't even know what date is on this thing. This says November 21st, but we know that's not what today's date is. Um, and so we begin. A Course in Miracles meets Science of Mind and other metaphysical teachings, most of which huh, were way before what we've been told. It's interesting that they refer to the times that we spoke of in Egypt as prehistoric times, but prehistoric means prehistory, but it's history. So how could it be before history? Um, the people, the Greeks, the Romans, they decided to call the time that they started the civilization, when civilization began. But when you look at all the amazing things, the calendar and medicine and the pyramids, and how was that done? They still can't figure out how that was done. But anyway, so we're talking about metaphysical, we're talking about beyond the physical, and the only thing that matters is beyond the physical, because that's what's real and can't be threatened. That's what's real, and it's the only thing that exists. And in that then lies the peace of God. That's the rewording of the intro to the course. Uh, so, of course, interestingly enough, I give you um, a quote from. This isn't set up right, is it? It's okay. Um, this isn't set up right at all. What have I just done? What have I just done? Slide. Current. Oh, not that one. The one before it. Yes. So, an ancient Egyptian proverb that you have heard me use and you've heard in other ways, the kingdom of heaven is within you, and whoever shall know himself shall find it. It's written in the Bible, the kingdom of heaven is within you. And in the course is written, the kingdom of heaven is you. And that has to be the truth, because what God is what we are. As Lynn said earlier, we are an expression of God. In Ernest Holmes says that we are an individualized expression of God, and we are. And how can that not be if God is omnipresent, everywhere present, that there is no spot where God is not? I love that one. If there is no spot where God is not, then God has to be right here where I am, where you are, where we are. God is all there is. Call it whatever you want to call it, but it's all, ultimately, it's all God. Um, to the on this slide, I can now tell you, on the left is Anubis. I'm not going to go into details about that, at least not this week so much. And on the other side is Horus. Now, everybody knows Horus, and that's the Greek name Horus. His name was actually Heru. The story is, and I'll give you this one, and I've known this for years. Asar, known as Osiris, Aset, known as Isis, and Heru, known as Horus. That was the royal family, the holy family, if you will. The story was that Osar, was going away, and he left his wife, Set, known as Isis, in charge. And Asar's brother, Set, was upset about that. He felt like, I'm the man, I'm your brother, I should be in charge. And out of his jealousy and what have you, he decided to kill his brother. The first quote, quote, Cain and Abel story, the two brothers. He kills his brother, he chops him into 13 pieces. So the story goes. Um, Aset, Isis, I'm learning things that she was, it says that she cried under the sycamore tree. So the sycamore tree has a lot of significance, and I'll get more and more details about that as I learn them. Um, she cries under the sycamore tree, and she cries so much, grieving her husband, that she cries this river of tears, which we call the Nile, in search of her husband's body parts. She finds 12 of the body parts. The 13th piece not found was the penis. They could not mummify a body unless it was a whole body. So they erected, here's that word, erection. They erected a piece to use the phallic piece to make the penis to complete the body. And we see these monuments, these what we call obelisks. We see them everywhere. There's one in Washington D.C. The obelisks. Well, they started in Egypt. A lot of them were in Egypt. A lot of them were stolen from Egypt and taken to different parts of the world. Paris has one. Rome has one. Anyway, so they erected this piece to complete his body. As the story goes, Aset had not yet consummated. She and Sar had not consummated their marriage, so she had intercourse with this phallus piece that was uh, erected, and conceived Haru, known as Horus. And this has been documented as the first Immaculate Conception. It's documented as the first one. It's not the only one. It's not the only one. It was just the first one. And the last one that we know of is the birth of Jesus. And that us thing again, that's Greek. All the us's, Jesus, Lazarus, esophagus, Horus, all those us's um are Greek terms. So if you want to know, you have to go back, because that's not where it started. That's where um that's who took it and changed it. So this is Horus on the right hand side. I said all of that to say that this is Horus. And if you crown that he's wearing, um, it's actually it's not the full crown. There's a crown that looks like what the Pope wears today. Go look at it. The Pope's hat. It is a symbol of the rulership of Upper and Lower Egypt. Um, this is very similar to it. That's not quite it. But anyway, so you may want to. I am a lot of this I already knew, but I'm sharing now just because I've just come back from Egypt and I'm still have I want to show you all a picture, but I have to go through some things to find it, because I want to tell you of some of the things that I had a chance to do. Anyway, the kingdom of heaven is within you, and whoever shall know himself shall find it. We're reminded over and over and over again that what we are is what God is, that we are one with God, that God's will and our will is one. The kingdom of heaven is within. The kingdom of heaven is what we are. The kingdom of heaven is God. When Jesus was asked in the Bible, it's written that when Jesus was asked, teach us how to pray, he said, our Father, suggesting right there that he wasn't just, keeping the Father all to himself. Although he was known to say, "My Father and I are one," and all this sort of thing, but he said, "Our Father," because he had already said that whoever does the will of his Father are his brothers and sisters. Thus, we are all one in one another. Um, but he said, "Our Father, which art in heaven." But it's also written that he said that the kingdom of heaven is within. So therefore, we're saying, our Father, which art within. Our Father, which is what we are. Our Father that gives us life, that gives us breath. And speaking of life, in Anubis's hand, in fact, in both their hands, you see the Ankh. The Ankh is the key of life. It's the life symbol. And if you've seen my hand, you'll know that on my middle finger of my left hand, for years and years, I have worn an Ankh. I understood the symbolism of it, and I look at it, and it is a symbol. It's a symbol to me that reminds me that I am life. We are life. God is life. It's all life. Um, and it's undeniable. It's undeniable. So the kingdom of heaven is you. It's within you and it is you. And if you know yourself, you shall find it. And the course says that above all, we are to know ourselves. We are to know ourselves. The goal of the course is to know ourselves. And we can't do that unless we're really willing to understand and know what God is, or who God is. The courts asks to begin each day with time devoted to the preparation of your mind, to learn what each idea you will review that day can offer you in freedom and in peace. Begin each day. And, I hate to say, I know someone who reads the lesson every single day, makes it part of their practice, their daily practice, reads the lesson every day. And I don't know what else they do, but they read the Course in Miracle lesson every single day. And then as they go about their day, you wonder, well, what was it that they read? Because their moods, and they're yelling, and they'd rather be right than happy, and I actually said that to them. They really would prefer to be right than happy, and very controlling, and very, and I just sit back and I ask myself, what's happening here? I mean, granted, there was a point in time, but I'm talking years ago, and there is no time. So it's all relative. There was a period in my life when I was reading the lessons and I was like, I have no idea what this is, what's going on here. But I was willing to follow the instructions given to me in those lessons. I was willing to do that. Just follow the instructions. Just do it. The course said, just do it. Don't excuse me. Don't concern yourself with, whether or not it makes sense to you or not. Just do it. Just do it. And um in the beginning of a chapter in the Alcoholics Anonymous book I once read, it's the only thing in the book I do remember, because that wasn't my program, but I owned the book because I was told it was such a powerful one. But it says that rarely does a person who follows what we teach, rarely do they fail, rarely do they not make it. It's basically written that Jesus wrote, that reads, that Jesus said, if you do what I do, you'll be where I am. You'll be this. You greater works than this you'll do, is what's written in the Bible. Greater works than this. So to be able to say that, but you have to at least be willing to keep your eyes single, stay focused. Just know at all times that God is all there is, and that I am what God is. And holding on to that thought, even the whole time when we were in Egypt, we were continually reminded, because it was a spiritual journey, by the way. It was a spiritual journey. I went with 17 other members from the Center of Peace, the Center for Spiritual Living that I belong to. Well, 17 of them, members of the Center of Peace, along with the owner of Spirit Tours. You may want to look into that. I am promoting Karen Fry and Spirit Tours. It was an absolutely amazing journey. Her wife, she had asked her before to come along, and she finally said yes. And it was, and then we had an Egyptologist, Muhammad, I don't know his last name, Muhammad, who was an amazing, all of the information. We went to different temples and we went to different museums, and we were continually reminded of our grand our grandeur. We were continually reminded of our grandeur, continually reminded of our majesty, continually reminded that we are the salt of the earth. They didn't say that, but that's from the Bible. That we are the salt of the earth, that we are the light of the world, and we forget, and we forget, and we forget. We go into the sleep of forgetfulness, and we just forget, and continually reminded. And I feel taller. I was only 5 feet tall when I left here, but I swear I'm 7'11" right now. I swear. Um, I feel taller. I feel fuller. I just, the course kept coming, it just kept coming back. And the teachings what I've been teaching, what I've been learning, what I've been studying, what I have been living to the best of my ability, it just kept coming back and coming back and coming back. I just don't understand why today people are comfortable being uncomfortable, in misery, why people are continuing, having at least having read through the course, having read through it, at least once, to decide that's fine when we're in this session, when we're here, that when we're in these rooms, and when I'm with these people, I guess I'm supposed to conduct myself a certain way or something. I'm not supposed to talk about, it's called, that's spiritual bypass. That's called spiritual bypass, when I'm uh acting as if I'm feeling wonderfully all the time. I caught a cold when I was out there, and wasn't able to participate in one of the and one thing that I really had hoped that we were going to do, and didn't know for sure that we were going to do it, and they did it, and I couldn't go because couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe. Um, uh, and but to be in acceptance, to learn to be in acceptance. I don't understand why people want to resist and resist and resist. instead of allowing themselves to be involved, to evolve through involution, by being involved, by understanding the God self. I don't understand it. I just don't understand it. And I can't tell you, a couple of times I had to, raise my voice to the person raising their voice at me and just say, yo, stop hollering. Well, at first it was stop hollering at me, because it was a to me thing initially. Then I remembered, wait, what's coming out of them is what's in them. And I had to keep, stop yelling. Stop that. Stop that. And they were blaming their stress. And there's an expression that goes, don't tell God how big your problems are. Tell your problems how big God is. And then we come to realize that there are no problems, that they're not there. There are no problems. We know. Okay, so I'm preaching to the choir. You want to hear about Egypt? I know. But that's what that was on my heart. So I had to get that out. If ye know these things, it's written, happy are ye if ye do them. And the last slide I'm going to just quickly is to remember to mind your mind, mind your own doggone business. We should daily train our thoughts to recognize the spirit in everything we do, say, or think. There is no other way. To try any other way would be to make a complete failure. That is, focus on being happy, focus on being in joy, focus on accepting that your brother and you are one, accepting that the same God that flows through you, that is the same God that flows through my brother, my sister, that flows through everyone, the people you like, the people you don't like, the same God. Train our thought to recognize the spirit in everything we do, say, or think. It's written that spirit is in a state of grace forever, and that our reality is only spirit. Not just my reality. It's not just the God in me. It's the God in you. Remember, there is no spot where God is not. To be able to look past the body, to be able to, as it did in the case of this individual, to see that what was coming out had nothing to do with me as individually as a person. It was, and what was coming out of them wasn't what was they were acting as a body in pain. And it was for me, if I believe what I say I believe, if I know what I say I know, it was up to me to recognize that that was a body in pain. And it finally came to that. At first, their call for love was met with my call for love. And then gradually, their call for love was met with my extension of love. And ultimately, they extended love. It came down to that. I love how that works. You just keep shining your light and shining your light. The light will shine away the darkness no matter what. Just keep shining the light and shining light. Okay. This is a course in mind training. These are all courses in mind training, and all learning. All learning involves attention and study. Not just study. I can read all day long. We can read all day long. We can sit in these rooms all day long, and we can talk about this and we can talk about that. But in between that, when we get off, when we turn our videos off, and we turn our sounds off, and we walk away and go interact with other people and situations, that's not the time to go, oh, it's okay to panic now. Oh, I really do have a problem now. No. The course teaches us to look at the problem so that it can be solved, and that we can't. And I heard Muhammad say it, and we've heard this. You can't solve a problem with the same mind that created the problem in the first place, because these problems that we have are problems that we created ourselves. See you, Dove. These are problems that we create ourselves. So we can't go into it with the same mind. We need to recognize the mind of God, because initially we're going into it with the mind of a problem. We think we have a problem and we start acting accordingly. So attention. It's not just study, but paying attention when the video cameras are off, when we're not on the screen, when we're not with our the people that we're having our holy these holy encounters with, these holy relationships, when we're not in those moments. Like now, right up until I turned on the camera today, I was just asking myself, am I going to teach today? What am I going to learn? What am I going to learn today? What do I have to offer? Oh, I didn't put a slideshow together. By the way, I have been awake since 2 a.m. because it at 2 a.m. it was already 9 a.m. in Egypt. So I had, this whole time thing. Whoa, crazy, crazy. Course in mind training, and all learning involves attention and study at some level, because an untrained mind can accomplish nothing. My willingness to see your faces this morning was really the reason why I turned on my camera, was really the reason why I came here. I missed you. Oh God, I missed you. Talked about you, sure did. Talked about you and promoted and gather. And so it is. Just excuse me. I need water. This is the most I've talked at one time in 2 weeks. Um, so, and we're reminded then by Dr. Ernest Holmes that to learn how to think is to learn how to live. Because what we do, of course, reminds us, comes from what we think. I have to go off. I have to turn the I need a moment.
Do what you need to do, my dear. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you.
Okay, let's try again. Wow. So Christian Larson teaches that we naturally become master over all life when we can understand and master the process of thinking. I want to take the screen down for now because I think that's the last one I might have. I'm not sure. Um, but there was something in the chat. Let me see what's happening in the chat. Yes, and Lori said that the time change is a great way to show time is unreal. Yeah, I was talking about, excuse me. I was talking about, yeah, I've transcended time. I've gone into the future. And then on the way home, I says, don't tell me I can't live in the past. I start making funny of that. Don't tell me I can't live in the past. I'm on my way back to the past now because it's 7 hours later than it is now here. So I kept joking about that. Uh, and there was a course student um, on the that I know of on the trip. So a little bit had a chance to chit and chat, but um, a little bit, just things like that. So I'm having some things are coming out of me, and it's coming through via a postnasal drip. So it's causing some coughing and it's causing some whatever have you. And I'm gonna, turn off the camera so I can blow my nose and, just hang in here with me because I'm gonna hang in here. I'm gonna hang in here. That was one of the reasons why I wasn't sure if I was coming today. So let me talk about my scarf. This is a pashmina scarf that I bought in Egypt. One of the places that we had an opportunity to go, nose blowing time. Um, we went to um, we went to a number of places. I'm going to while I'm here, I'm going to pull up the our I'm not going to put it on the screen, but we did so much. We did so much. I'm going to recommend because it's for open-minded people. It's not it's Spirit Tours. Write it down. Spirit Tours. Karen Fry, Fry. She's the owner, Reverend Karen Fry. She is um, out of Dallas, Texas, and her wife Petra Wells, who is the minister at CSL Dallas, Centers for Spiritual Living in Dallas, Texas, has been a minister. Petra has been a minister for 40 years. Had an opportunity to sit with her at dinner and hear her story. And and you know what I love about us growing to be where we are today, or to be who we're becoming, is that we all have a story to tell that's very painful. Very, very. I've not heard anyone yet say, "Oh yeah, I was in a great place when I started reading the course," or "I was in a great place when I started my metaphysical teachings." No, 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 no. No, I was in pain. I didn't know that I could make choices for myself. I didn't know that I am what God is. I didn't know any of that, as most of us did not. Um, and yes, Lori, absolutely. Absolutely. Not only was he with me, when he passed, his daughter had given me some of his hair, and I took some of his hair and gave it to the Nile. Took it with me and left a piece of that there. And it's all symbolic, I know, but you feel me. I know you feel me. Lori, I know you feel me. I've been here to hear you and in a number of different stories, and so I know you feel me. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I did say in the Nile, right? You heard me say that. I didn't just toss it over into the Nile. I was in the Nile. I was in the Nile River. Um, oh gosh, I'm saying it, and it's giving me chills. I brought some mud, this beautiful black mud. You put it. I hear about these masks, people who do that sort of thing. As far as grooming and all that, and it's how it's supposed to make you feel. But this was instant. Some of us had put mud on our faces and on our skin, and when you wiped it off, when you washed it off with that same water, you could feel, I mean, instantly a smoothness, like, oh, just got younger. My face was soft as a baby's behind. It was phenomenal. That was phenomenal. Okay, so what we do? So day one, we left. I left the day before Thanksgiving, that Wednesday. By the way, I bought this in Egypt as well. One of the things we went to a store. We went to a market. Oh my God, the crowds of people. I will show pictures. I promise I will have pictures. Um, Promise I will. But not today because it was just too much and just too much. And my body doesn't know whether I'm awake. I still don't know where I am physically, awake or asleep. I know that in truth I'm asleep. It's all a dream. It's a marvelous dream, but my body is still making the adjustment. And then I was greeted to all this water last night. It was pouring rain, pouring rain. I had the only water I experienced the whole time was Nile, was the water in the Nile. And then I come home to this rain. I was keeping track of the temperature. I was sending um, um, screenshots to a friend. There was one day I heard in Philadelphia it was 27, and in Egypt it was 72. Yeah, so I didn't experience weather under the 70s at all for those 2 weeks, which made me decide that every year from now on I am going to take, if only a week, if only a weekend, I am going someplace warm during the cold months just to have that feeling. Anyway, so uh our first full day there was the 29th, because we arrived on Thursday, Thanksgiving Day. We stayed at the Marriott, the Mena House, MENA, in Cairo, and we were there for what's happening? What's happening here? Um, we were there for 3 days, but we went to the Egyptian Museum. See, some things I can't even pictures will have to tell you best. I saw, got an opportunity to see a lot of the sarcophagi. That's the plural of sarcophagus, sarcophagi of people that we've heard of. Ramesses the second, he was supposed to be the greatest of all. Okay, here we go. We talk about King Tut, but King Tut was a young boy when he ruled, only because he was the only one as the successor at the time. He really didn't do much. We just seem to know him. King Tut, he was like 17 or 18 when he passed as a young boy, as a teenager. But he was a child, 9 years old or so when he became ruler. And for information purposes, the name Tutankhamun is actually 3 words: Tut, which is an originator, Ankh, the Ankh, which is a key of life, and Amun, which was the sun god, which is where they believe the word amen came from. Amun, amen, amen. It's spelled different ways. I'm going to blow my nose. Give me. I'm just having a purging good time here. Um, but it's good because whatever doesn't need to be there needs to come out. It needs to release. It needs to release, and I'm okay with that. So we went to the Egyptian Museum. There were so many artifacts from pieces that were found in the in in the uh in the tombs, and pieces that were found. So the Egyptians believed, the ancient Egyptians believed that you you had these Coptic jars, and you buried them in with their body parts, the organs, the different organs in these Coptic jars. They went in the tomb too, because it was believed that in the afterlife, they needed these things. I mean, you got. I believe the heart was the one thing. I'm not sure. I believe the heart might not have been included. The heart was always weighed. There was you had the scales of balance. Ma'at, Maat. You can look that up. If you look up the laws of Ma'at, you're gonna find what's they're also called the negative confessions, the 42 negative confessions. Um, and thank you so much, Lori. Thank you. Just yeah. Um, the 42 negative confessions are what was given to me when I was still studying Bible, because I'm a certified biblical counselor, you know that. I was studying the Bible, and I was telling my friend who introduced me to the idea of going to Egypt. Um, about these. We were talking about the commandments, and he said to me, "Oh yeah, I have something that's I have some information that's like that." I mean, he pulled me in, he sucked me right in. I says, "So bring it," because I thought that the Bible was the oldest book in the world and all that. I knew nothing. So he comes and he brings me this book. I don't remember what book it was, but it doesn't matter because you can go on the internet and type in the laws of Ma'at, Maat, or the 42 negative confessions. And I'm reading these. It starts out, I have not this and I have not that. I have not killed. I have not, basically committed adultery. Been with anybody else's wife. I have not all these different things. And I realized that Moses, as it's written in the Bible, who was learned in the ways of the Egyptian, because he was raised by Pharaoh, had Egyptian, had that schooling. He did years, I'm talking about decades of schooling. The commandments as we know them were actually the edited version of these negative confessions. So what became the thou shalt nots were originally the I have nots. That was number one. So we get a chance to find out where that so much of what we have been taught was taught previously and edited to be what we know it to be. So um so we went to a shop to do some clothes shopping, which is where I got the first place where I got this piece, this piece, uh, which has some shimmer to it. I don't know if you can see the shimmer, but it shimmers. You might be able not be able to see that, but anyway, it's really prettier than it looks than what I'm seeing on screen. Um, and the people, the vendors will come at you. I mean, they're literally in your face. They come, they come at you like this. They are, and they all have their wares, and they're, hi, Glorian, good to see your face. Good to, um, and 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 they I mean they come at you. We're already taught from Karen is teaching us, if you say la means no, la la la, because they keep coming and they keep coming, and they'll start out $1, but it might not be $1. um the vendors even at the stores, as you're passing the stores there. But we went into a marketplace that had shop after shop after shop after shop after shop, just a square, rows and rows and rows of jewelry and t-shirts and uh, um, uh, statues and um, you name it, you name it, they had it, incense. And so the first place we went was to this store, because Karen because she's been doing this for several years now, has determined who are has found out who is some of the most reputable places to go. And I didn't need Egyptian pounds in most cases. I was able to use my charge card. And even if you were buying from off the street, you can give them American money. Oh, speaking of American money, when you go to the bathroom, you need toilet paper. Yes. And to get toilet paper, you have to pay the person who's standing there for toilet paper. So we were told to bring a lot of American a lot of singles, because we were giving them a lot of dollars to go to bathrooms. Excuse me. Okay. So you pay for toilet paper, and you don't flush paper down the toilet. There's a can with with plastic in it and all that, and the can that you put step on and the lid opens, that kind of thing, and you put it in there. It amazes me that people aren't walking around sick. If that's supposed to be germs, It's amazing that people aren't sick. I don't hear the Egyptians walking around coughing and sneezing and none of that. We were. We were. We didn't drink the water. We always had bottled water. In fact, this is one of the bottles of water that I had there. But that wasn't, yes. If you see, it says Nestle, but then you also see it written in Arabic. Wait a minute. Maybe I should undo the blur. All right. There you go. Now you can see it. You see it's written in Arabic. Yeah. Pure life, Nestle Pure Life water, but it's still in Arabic. Um, wait, somebody just posted something. I think it's a question. How do you get the water in the plate? Um, we were able. That's funny you asked that because when we were coming back, they took somebody's water if you carry it on. I had a couple bottles of water in my bag, not my carry-on. Yeah, in my carry-on. I had water with me, and they didn't take it. I was prepared for them to take it if they were going to, but they did not because I had a bot. You can always carry a bag for food, right? You could be besides your carry-on and your personal bag, you can also have a bag of food. I had apples, I had bananas, and I had water. They didn't touch it. Now there was a bottle with mud. I told you I brought back mud from the Nile, and the man he says, "You have a bottle." I said, and I'm asking. I said, "What are you looking for?" He said, "I'm looking for the bottle," because I thought he went looking for water. And I pulled out this bottle. It was a glass bottle. It's a glass bottle, and it has mud in it from the Nile, right? So he takes it. He's looking at it, and I'm trying to. And he doesn't speak English. I don't speak enough Arabic. Um, he opens it. He smells it, and I'm saying to him, and I'm saying water, Nile River, and then I said Dehabaya, which was the name, which means boat in Arabic. I said, Dehabaya Afandina. He closes up the bottle and hands it back to me. Okay, so he knew what it was. It was mud. So in one of the hotels, the water was always in glass bottles. We got glass bottles, and this was a small bottle. Glass bottles. When have you last seen glass bottles of water? Um, that plastic gets in our system, right? So I'm really starting to think this thing through about this bottled water. Um, it came through. That's all I can tell you. It came through. So yeah. So where was I? Uh-oh, ADHD moment. Um, so you don't drink the water, and you don't flush toilet paper down the toilet. But there's a can, and the hotels wherever we were, occasionally they would come and change the bag, and we didn't see that part. We see the can gone. Like when they're gonna clean your room, they come and change the bags and what have you. And they put these beautiful, on cruises, how you get they do the towels and they make them animals. We got crocodiles. I got hearts with they use whatever's in your room because I had a rose. We were given a rose when we first arrived. And they had taken some of the petals from the rose. There was a heart with rose petals on it. But the crocodile, I'll get pictures. I promise you, I'll show you all pictures as time goes on. A lot of that. Uh, so we went to that shop. That was the first day. That was a main thing. We had a big dinner together. That was November 29th. On the 30th, we went to the Giza Plateau. We went to the Great Sphinx. We went to the Great Sphinx. There are photos of me at the Sphinx. There are photos of me touching it. You can't see the tears. You all know me when it comes to tears. I was bawling. that kind of thing. It was just all this that I had been holding on to for 14 years. It just uh it was just amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And we had, we took pictures and we talked and we had a moment. We had a moment of meditation because remember this was a spiritual journey. So we did that. That was a big thing that day. And um something Sakara. I have to. It was. We went to a temple in Sakara. Details. I'll have to look at for photos to tell you about that. That was the 30th. On the first, we left Cairo. We went to Aswan. So we stayed at the Mina Hotel, the Marriott Mina, and the Marriott Mina for 3 nights. The 28th, 29th, and on the 30th, we left to go to. Or rather, on the first, we left to go to Aswan. We flew to Aswan. Now, and that was included in the fee. So of course, I just had to pay my way to get to Cairo and all that goes with that, insurances and all that stuff. And then there was a flat fee that we paid from the time we got to Cairo, from the time we got there on. And um amazing, amazing, amazing. And I say that because so when we went to the Philae Temple, I believe that's the temple of Isis. We went to the temple of Isis. We rode on and I'm not going to go into all those details. You can look some of that up, and I'll give you some more information. We went on a felucca ride. Now, felucca is a boat that has a sail, but for whatever the reason that I can't remember right now, the felucca is special because it's not the boats that it's not the cruise boats. It's not that. And there were boats with people as many as 150 on. I saw those. But the felucca is just a sailboat, and it just eases on down. Up, no, up. Because remember, the Nile River is the only river that goes south to north. You don't go down the river, you go up the river. So we rode the felucca. That was lovely. That was absolutely lovely. And we went to a museum, the Nubian Museum. Um, so the Nubians were the people who had problems. The Egyptians had problems with these Nubians. You know how it goes. People have a problem with the dark people. People have a problem with the black people until they realize that the people are okay. Mexico, okay, yeah, Mexico's like that with toilet paper. Lori is telling us. Um, yeah, see, Lynn was saying that she brought a bottle of whiskey home from Scotland, and they opened the box and looked at the bottle and let us through. It's you know. I think if it was an open, I don't know. I didn't have an open bottle of water. I made it a point not to have an open bottle of water. No problem. But uh, the Nubians, when you start talking about a lot of um, what they had the things that these people had built, the colors of the paintings that they had done. Uh, there's so we're talking about Kush. Now I had heard about Kush. Kush was the Black Land. Um, so these people, the Egyptians, of course, like, we're not buying into this. And eventually, yeah. Let's see. I can try to put this. It's hard to do this. Okay. Yeah. So as you see here, there is an obelisk. You'll find them in numerous places. You'll find them in numerous places. Um, and the Nubians had a civilization of their own. It's funny how they call it the uncivilized. I'm back to that. How they can call these things uncivilized. How do they build these things? How are these things done without the tools that we have today? How do you do this? There are some of the people. then. Um, and some of the artwork, I mean, some of the monuments are just amazing. I mean, amazing. That's a door. We're talking about the modern architecture. It's distinctive and typically features a large courtyard surrounded by a high wall, a large ornately decorated gate, preferably facing the Nile. And that's another thing. The Great Sphinx. Everything faces east. Remember, the sun rises in the east, and Ra was the sun god. Well, he was he no, he was God. The SUN was hmm, equated to the FON of God, right? So, and it had three phases. It was the scarab, Khepera, in the morning, and then it was Amun during the midday, the high noon, that time of day, and then it was Ra in the evening. So it had different phases. We call it morning, afternoon, and evening. Everything back then was personified, and we're thinking it's idol worship, that they're different gods. No, we call the sky sky. They call it Newt, and it was personified as a woman who, and you could see when we saw the some of the etchings where you could see her body, the feet, her arms, her torso, the upper body, her arms, just and it was covering the sky. Oh my God, it was absolutely beautiful. We did see a lot of things that still had color. A lot of the color is gone. You could see where a lot of the it was a lot of the destruction where the Greeks came in and did what they do because they were trying to replace a lot of their stuff with what was already there. And in some cases, and we know about the wide noses and the thick lips in a lot of cases were were blown off or cut off or taken off in some way because they were attempting to show that it wasn't real because they believed back then, again, as I said, if I can erase everything about you, that would be like, let's say, say I stopped coming here, and so you decide that every video I've ever done, you're going to take it down. Any photos of me, anything, you just take it away to show that I've never existed. It was like killing me off, so to speak, and that's what they would do. And in some cases, it would be, like I said, Ramses. He couldn't handle the fact that Hatshepsut, this woman, had done so much and had been so great, and had to get rid of her, that kind of thing. And so they would do that. But here, I thought I saw. I have this photo. I have the photo. I mean, I actually saw this. They did etchings and showing how their schooling was at that point, or how they believed it was. I don't know. Um, Beautiful, beautiful. There's is that good old Ramses. That's him. You find him a lot. But a lot of headless statues. Well, a lot of it was just I know it's just stuff that has been destroyed along the way. Um, this is just the only book I'm going to pull out today because it's already after 10:30. I still have so much to say. A lot of the fellas. Wait, you can't even see that. A lot of the steles with the writing on it, and Muhammad took the time to explain, to read some of the etchings that I used to study. I didn't remember too much of it. Oh, but wait, I got something else. I have a cartouche. Um, the cartouche, which is actually the Greek word too, it's actually called a shin in the hieroglyphic term. Hieroglyphic actually is the word metaneture, which means uh, language of God. The divine language means the divine language. Um, but the cartouche is the coffin. It's like it's supposed to be the coffin, and on this one it reads life, health, and prosperity. No, the other way around. Life, prosperity, and health. Then on the flip side, there are five symbols. Z, U, M, Ah. My name, Zulma. uh, and we had to have those, we had to take time to have those made. So we went to a jewelry store. That's another thing that we did. Um, so we did the Felucca ride, went to the went to the Nubian market. On the third, and this is now we're along the Nile at this point. We are actually on the Afandina boat. We went to the Philae Temple, the Temple of Isis. We did the Felucca. Okay, we went to we sailed to we went to Komombo, where we went to yet another temple. Uh, all I can do is just really never. Okay, I will get you some information about that because I had one before. My house got robbed. I had actually ordered one years ago um from Egypt, and the one I had, it was gold, and the one I had my name in English on one side, and then it had my name in the Meta hieroglyphic on the other side. That got stolen, but I do have a picture of it, at least with the Meta part. I have a photograph of that. uh so yeah, so we went to a temple in Komombo, Kom, one word, second word Ombo, temple, another temple. We did a lot of we went to a lot of different temples. We climbed stairs. At one point, we were on our knees going in the holes. There was uh, 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 a grave site with all of these sarcophagi for the cows, for the bulls. Um, Huge. We're talking things that were like tons and tons big, heavy. How did they do that? This is what the mind blowing stuff. How back then would they do that? Well, you're right. The North American culture would never glorify or sanctify a coffin, but there's in writing on it to tell stories about, in some case about the person, to to you'll see Anubis, who is the god of the underworld, or the god of death, right? You'll see Anubis on it. Um, the underworld. I'll tell you this. Saw one temple where we saw snakes. The snake back then was equal to the serpent in the Bible. We know the serpent's job. They call it Satan, which they say they think that that's where the word Satan came from. Set, remember Set killed his brother, Asar. Yeah, they think that that's where the word Satan came from, but I don't know. But you see these snakes. You know that this is a funerary scene that you're looking at, a very funerary scene, and there's snakes, and then there are rectangular boxes that look like they would be coffins, like like a cheap coffin, if you will. It just look like just about, and in it are people laying down, which represents hell. Now, I remember years and years ago seeing on the internet. I don't remember when, I don't remember where, but I remember seeing that. I thought it looked like a child's drawing. To me, it looked like a child's drawing, and there was heat, looked like flames coming from it, which was symbolic of what we call hell. So the whole idea, the concept of hell, as we were taught, didn't start with the Bible. The information that was put in the Bible was stolen from, I shouldn't use the word, yeah, stolen from the original people. So what gets me is that we're taught to believe that everything before whatever period were myths. It was a myth then, right? It was a myth when they did it. It was a myth, the religious beliefs, the spiritual beliefs of others Those are all myths. Those are all, they're voodoo, and they're all kind of stuff. But now we get this group of people who have taken, stolen, pilfered, and turned it around and reworded it and redid the picturing and all that, and they're calling it real. Now it's hard for me to get. See, I figure like this: if it rains here, if water comes down from the sky here, then if I were to go to anywhere else in the world and water fell down from the sky, then that, yeah, I can, then that could be the same thing. That's real water coming out of the sky. To me, for me, if it was a myth when the first people came up with the story, I don't care how many generations or groups of people or civilizations or historians, his story. I don't care how many historians there are. If it was a myth then, it's a myth now to me. I guess this is not the play. This might not be the forum where I'm supposed to say that there's a book titled 16 Crucified Saviors. There's a book by the title 16 Crucified Saviors. This might not be the forum where I'm supposed to say that there are a lot of different creation stories, that there are a lot of um, uh, uh, virgin birth stories. This might not be the forum where I'm supposed to say that, but it's so. That's all I'll say about that. So, um, and we choose what works for us based on whatever time frame we're in, because what the things that we know today, they would have probably called witchcraft back then. What do you mean a metal flying in the sky? Come on, that has to be witchcraft, you know, voodoo at best. That has to be. Um, the things that we can do today that they couldn't do. But then when we look at the things that they could do back then, and we still haven't figured out how it was done, it's just amazing. And thank you, Mickey. Um, uh, it's amazing. There are those who say that they were aliens. They had to be aliens. Oh, and it's not so that the enslaved were the ones who built the pyramids, because, and I had learned this several years ago, and it's only been in the last 10, 15 years that they were able to unearth the graves of people who were those who erected pyramids, because there were writings where it talked about, and the kind of the living that they, the way they lived. They had, there it could have been the pots and pans that they used, whatever that was. It wasn't the things that slaves would have. These were people who they were working, and there was some information about them having had wages and stuff like that. They were, they talked about their wages. So slaves did not build the pyramids. This was not, it wasn't that. But this is what we were taught to believe until we find more information. And of course, as we continue to grow and learn, we continue to grow and learn. Uh, so, and to have a cartouche with the words life, prosperity is wonderful. Life, prosperity, and health. Life, prosperity, and health. Because the key of life is that Ankh again. Prosperity is I don't know what it's called. And the other one it's the wasset. It's the stick that it's like the staff. You will see something that looks like the staff that the Pope carried. The Catholic Church picked up a whole lot of these things, whole lot of these things. Because remember, the Romans got involved too. But the staff that the Pope carries, and the hat that the Pope wears, and oh, and did you know? You may know that in the basements of the Vatican, they have the Black Madonna and Child. They have that. They pray to it because, Catholic, we used to pray to statues. But they have the Black Madonna and Child long before there was the statues that we have come to call the Madonna and Child, that have the whole different look. There were original erections of the Madonna and Child. So that even that was something. And the thing is that there's so much incomplete information, because when you run, whoever came and robbed my house, they took things, for example, they took the cartouche, the shin, it's called in the meta nature. They took the shin that I had, and maybe they pawned it, I don't know. But unless they found someone named Zulma to purchase it, it would mean absolutely nothing to them. Unless they were just grinding up the gold, it would mean nothing to them at all. It's incomplete because they don't know the history behind it. They don't know that there was a Zulma person, someone named Zulma, who had that made, and that had Zulma in English written on one side, that had it in Medu Neter, the symbols on the other side. It would mean it's incomplete because they're robbing, they're coming in, they're taking quickly, they're taking what they can, and they're making sense of it their way. A lot of the information that we have today is given, we have it incomplete. I had the the pleasure of having a ride from back from Aswan, from Luxor. Because went to Luxor. Oh, I'm supposed to tell you. That's what I'm supposed to be telling you, right? I did go to Luxor. We went to the Luxor temples there. There's something called the Ethnologue. Okay, I'll tell you about this. So we're on the boat, the Afandina. That's the name of the boat. The Dehabaya, which is the boat is. We're on this boat, and there comes a point where, and it's called the Esna Lock, ESNA Lock, LOCK. And I had no idea what this was. The you could see where the water, you could see where we are with the water, and then all of us on the wall, you could see the lines where the water, and all of a sudden you see it going lower and lower. I'm talking about the boat now, lower and lower, because there was a bridge. I saw a bridge right in front of me. And all of a sudden, I see this bridge getting higher and higher and higher, but it's actually the boat going lower and lower and lower until you get to a certain point. I mean, it's way down here. The bridge is way up here. And then this gate opens. It's a locked gate. Opens, and now we are in a different part. And it's amazing. I have video of this. I have video. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of these videos on my YouTube channel, and then I'll see to it that you all get that. That's the only way I can do it. As far as photos, I don't know. I'll put a lot on a slide, and I'll show them next week. Um, so yeah, that was the Ethna lock, ESNA. This is all along. We're sailing along on the Afandina. That was on the 6th of December. And I'll give you the spiritual part of this next week, where we had these virtues, but I have to find out where they came from. The first one is the control of thought. The first one, the control of action. The second one is the control of action. And I'll get to that next week. I'll do the spiritual part of this next week. And so we did the Luxor temples. Then we went to a place called Dendara. We we went to a papyrus shop. That was one of the last things we did, though. We went to a papyrus shop. We went to papyrus. I bought a papyrus. It has the calendar, the original calendar made. Oh my God. It's amazing what they did with just looking at the heavens, how the first anything as we know it, astrological this, astronomical that, how that came to be. But the original calendar showed, or the calendar at the point when it showed the 52 weeks, it showed the 12 months, it showed the 7 days in its own way. And I'll get a picture of that to you all too. Amazing, amazing. But some of the papyrus is made in such a way, and I have one, where you see one image in the light, and when the lights go out, you see a totally different image. And the one I have is the calendar, and when the light goes in the dark, and it glows in green, is the Ankh. There was some with the cat, Sekhmet. She's a bad broad. You hear me? Sekhmet she was a healer. Um, and the term was healing through destruction, but that doesn't mean through war and fighting. It just brings to mind miracle principle number 7, that miracles are everyone's right, but purification is necessary first. That purification is the destruction. Sekhmet, S as in Samuel, E, K, H, M as in mother, E, T. Sekhmet. Her symbol is a cat. Cat. And when you're seeing in some of the um, etchings in the hieroglyphs, when you see this lion, it's actually she's the lioness. When you see this lion, the symbol of the lion, you know that that's Sekhmet, shown in different ways, but oftentimes up. A lot of them are upright. They're upright, and you'll see one behind another, and they're basically you see where one um, it's the help coming from different places. Like there's that the if Sekhmet is standing behind someone, there's some healing going on, and it could be Isis, the mother of Horus, with her son, and so you see the offerings and all the etchings. Some of them you can look at them and say, oh, I can tell from I may not know exactly, but I can see that their offerings. Is that corn? My God, that's corn. Is that lettuce? My God, that's lettuce. And how the fact that they were taking the time, we take a pencil and paper and we do this. Done. But the fact that they were taking the time to carve all these things because they wanted the history was being told. But it wasn't until it was before the Rosetta Stone, I learned too. But it wasn't until that stuff started to happen, they began to understand what these things meant. The history was being told. There has been history all along. They have always been recording what was happening. It's just that when the thieves came, when the people came in my house and started taking things, they didn't know that my name was Zulma. They didn't know nothing. They knew nothing. They knew nothing about me. They didn't know my story. They didn't know when I was born, who my parents were, that I'm a student of A Course in Miracles, that I'm a metaphysical teacher. They don't know any of that. But my history has always been being told. But the thieves don't know that. They just came to get the bits and pieces that they thought were valuable. Oh, that makes such a difference. Oh, that makes such a difference. So then we went to the West Bank. This is the eighth now. And we went to the Valley of the Kings, the Valley of the Queens, and the Colossi of Memnon. The monuments are just huge. I have a photograph of me, the angle in which it was taken. It looks like I have my finger on top of a pyramid, but not a pyramid, an obelisk, but I don't. It's just the angle which is taken. But obelisks here and there, and huge. I mean, huge pieces with the carvings and stuff, and a lot of it's destroyed. So you're actually seeing some of it on the floor. You see a lot of the animals. Oh, the dogs and the cats. There are a lot of dogs and a lot of cats. You see dogs roaming in some areas. You see cats in certain parts of Egypt. You see cats. They are community animals. They're not starving. They're not like Lovable was when he found me, my baby boy. Well, everybody here knows Lovable. Okay. They're not like Lovable, who was right there, by the way. There he is. Um, they're not like Lovable, who was skinny and skin and bones. No, they take care of their animals. They take care of them. Uh, they're called spirit guides, but that's another story. That's something that they told us on the when we were riding along. But there was one temple where it was originally done for Set, the one who killed his brother. So it's basically, it's like the devil versus, and people weren't coming. People were not coming to visit this. It was like, so they decided to add to it by making part of it for Horus Heru, the one, the nephew, actually Set's nephew, who killed Set. That became, by the way, how that eye of Horus that you've seen, that Egyptian eye that you see, that's called the eye of Horus or the eye of Heru. Because what happened was that when after uh, 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 Set killed his brother Osiris, um, his son Heru, who was born via Immaculate Conception, um, uh, avenged his father and went after Set. And you see there's some images. I saw a lot of the images of that. But he kills Set. But in the process, took out one of his eyes, um, the eye of wisdom. So that's that Egyptian eye that you've seen. I'm sure you've all seen it. Yeah, you can't see anything Egyptian without having seen that eye of, they call it the eye of Horus, the eye of Haru, and that's where that came to be. Um, why did I say that? Uh, I forgot. Uh, I forgot why I was saying that. But you've seen it. Here it is, right here. The eye of Haru. By the way, I bought this ring and that ring, the jewelry store we went to, and the prices were so wonderful. You think, oh, you bought all this jewelry? I did very well, very well with the prices. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. Um, so so this was the valley. These huge monuments. Okay, then on the 9th, we went to the Karnak temple, which doesn't mean anything if I'm not showing you pictures and giving you more history about it. But it's 6 minutes to 11. My God, I've done it. Um, and we went to Luxor. And we went to the Karnak temple in Luxor. I got a chance to, that's what I say, we went to, and see, a lot of the things that we did are not actually written here because things were being, there were surprises here and there. Um, as I said, the papyrus shop, the jewelry store, the place where we bought the oils, the carpet making school, um, the just general shopping to the markets. Um, I was looking at what I purchased and seeing if it helps me remember anything, and whatever else. Because where I bought the jewelry was also where I bought the scarf. And then on the streets again, you have vendors, and you're haggling with them. By the way, they say, uh, they say $10, and you say six, and they say eight, and you say, you say five, and then you could even, listen. I started out with something that cost $75. Then it was $70. And by the time I finished, it was 55. I started out with something that they say they wanted $30, but by the time I finished, we're at 15. Now, I know that they already know how low they're going to go. And Lori writes, um, oh, Lori, I'd like the name of that book, by the way. Um, by Dan Brown. Dan Brown's books. Okay, thank you. It talks about the connection between that Catholicism stole from Egypt and pagans. There was an image, and I know I'm going from all over the place. Bear with me. Um, there was an image of what looked like um almost like the Last Supper. There was an image where the Catholics, the Christians, had come in. I automatically went Catholic. That's interesting. But the Christians had come in after when they were doing their thing, and they were plastering over a lot of the etchings, and then putting some of their work on it. There's one, and I have a picture of it. It looks like the disciples of Jesus, um, colorful and all that. I mean in color. I don't mean colorful in that way. Um, Because isn't it interesting that none of the disciples were black? Oh, except unless they saw Jesus Christ Superstar, the movie. Then Judas was black, Carl Anderson. But other than that, you never see. But you know how it is. That's the way it was back then. That's just the way it was. Um, black people were always in a subservient position. Um, nevertheless, but they did that. And what Muhammad was saying that in a way, um, they had done they had done a favor because once they were able to take some of that plaster off, they were actually had preserved some of the original works, some of the original etchings and stuff. Um, I have to save this chat, Lori, because you are really giving me quite a bit of stuff here. Thank you. Save chat. All right, perfect. Um, we came back to Luxor. Then on the 10th, they went to, I didn't get a chance to go to the Great Pyramid, and they went in the pyramid. I couldn't do it because I had at this point between the dust and the dirt, and you hear what's happening now. I couldn't if I walk too long. Yeah, if I walk from here to my kitchen, I start to the breathing starts to go, and my breathing had just become so shallow, I couldn't do it. So I slept in. I did not go to the Great Pyramid. I don't regret it. It is what it is. But somebody brought me back a piece. I have a piece from the pyramid. I do have a piece of it. Um, and they went into what was called the King's Chamber, which was really, from what I understand, it was just a room. But there's something in some cases, there was an energy. We had an opportunity to um, go to behind lock and key, where everybody can't go, just local tourists can't go, um, to be in the presence of one of the great statues of one who's not considered a goddess and does not have a temple of her own. Um, I don't know if how much of this I'm supposed to talk about because it's because tourists can't. Um, but I'll say it was located in the temple of Ptah. It was in that area, but it was not Ptah. But it was in the temple of Ptah, and we had an opportunity to go in this room with this statue, and I can't tell you the energy. I it was amazing. Um, one person who actually started touching the statue just burst into tears. That's all I can say about it. I'm not going to even. It was just amazing, amazing, amazing. So, um, it's 1 minute to 11. I just looked at time. Our last night, the last supper, we went to this beautiful restaurant. I said, and they had these dancers, these men, and they were just going round and round and round and round. And I'm thinking, well, they don't have a lot to learn, a lot of dance steps to learn. They're going round and round and round, and all of a sudden, they're the skirts, the skirt that they had that it started to elevate, and it's going round and round, and it's coming up, and then there's in two parts, and it's going round and round. They're going round, and then they keep going around, and I got dizzy watching them round and around. I will put videos on YouTube, I promise. And then they light up, and then they're taking part of it off, and then they're going. They gave it to different people to do it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't breathe. So they didn't even. I guess they could see that in me. I wanted to, but I couldn't. Um, it was phenomenal. The food for the pescatarians, it's called whirling dervishes. Yes, yes, the dervishes. Exactly, Mickey. Thank you. I couldn't think of that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, and Lynn calls it soupy dancing. Okay, beautiful. I had never seen it, experienced it. It was amazing. The restaurant was big, and we had the place to ourselves. And they were outside playing instrument. The gentlemen were outside playing their instruments. We came in. They actually escorted us in with the music. It was wonderful. And me, you know me, tears just streaming. Enjoying and smiling and crying, and it was phenomenal, phenomenal. Um, and then our last day, we came back. We had a closing. Well, before dinner, we had our closing ceremony. We had a circle, and we all had our thing to say and feel and express and the love and recognizing nothing but spirit in the midst of all of it, spirit being all of it. Again, I'm going to promote spirit tours. If you're interested, let me know. I'll put you in touch with Karen, and in fact, but actually she's on her way to Germany right now. So she'll be away for the next 5 days. So I won't be able to actually get in touch with her till later. But it was absolutely wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Family, thank you for listening to my incomplete my incomplete information, because I don't have pictures to share at the same time. But I promise you, I'll give you some more next week. I love you, love you, love you, family. I miss you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here, for seeing your faces. That means so much to me. And with that, mwah, Lynn, here's the mic.
Thank you so much, Zulma. Wow, what an exciting trip we went on with you. I love it, love it, love it.